It's time for the Brown Sports Bag on WCLU, the official local sports show here in Glasgow and Barron County. And now, alongside John Butler, here is your host, James Brown.
Welcome back to the Brown Sports Bag this week. James Brown, John Butler, presented by McDonald's of Glasgow. We will get to some football in the second segment, but first we're going to actually talk tennis for a little while with Terry Bunnell. People might know him around town. I mean, he is involved in, I think, everything. As far as I can tell, he's involved in everything in this town during the course of a week. You'll see him, with the YMCA, with the bank, with the People's Bank, tennis, of course, Caverna. Excuse me. Before we talk about you, let's talk
Council.
about what's that?
City Council.
Yeah, City Council. Yeah, don't let me leave that out. The City Council
no,
there.
Please don't leave that one out. Yeah, that's great. I'd say that it's great working for the citizens of Glasgow. I love it. I really enjoy it.
So we're going to talk about you here in a bit, Terry. But let's talk about your involvement in both getting Caverna's tennis program back going, and most importantly, helping them rejuvenate the tennis courts. I'm guessing for you that was very personal, because I believe that's where you played when you were learning to play tennis and in high school and that kind of jazz. And so it was very personal for you, for this new crop of Caverna tennis players to have a place to play.
Yeah, it really is personal. I did grow up on those courts in the mid-'70s when those courts were originally put in at the high school, and I remember riding my bicycle, from the house up there, and we didn't live very far away though. We were maybe about a mile and a half or so, but I had to get on 31W. And thinking about it today, I was like, "Oh, that's crazy, Terry! You got on a 10-speed bike. You don't know what a 10-speed bike looks like. You got a tennis racket in one hand, you got a gym bag of tennis balls in the other, and you're going down a major highway." I'm like thinking about this, and I'm thinking, I don't know, they're smart back then. But anyway, I went up and started learning how to play by dropping the tennis ball, hitting it, and going on the other side, picking the balls up, and hitting them back to the other side. That's how I learned how to play.
Didn't even have a wall to bounce them off, huh?
No, I did have a wall. I'd go to the elementary school. The elementary school, Caverna Elementary School, was right behind the farm that we have, and I'd go over there and hit against the wall there. And I told someone not too long ago, I said, no telling how many tennis balls they found on the top of that Caverna Elementary School, from where I missed hit a ball or two and landed on the top of up there on the roof of Caverna Elementary School. So.
Well, and so tomorrow there's a ribbon cutting for the new courts, right?
Yes,
at 1:30?
1:30 at Caverna High School. Yeah, great project. About 2 years ago, started this journey, and I happened to be over at Caverna doing some tennis lessons, and just noticed the condition of the tennis courts, and it pained me a lot to see the tennis courts with the cracks. They were long and wide, and you don't want those cracks on a tennis court like that. And I thought, well, this can't be. I've got too many connections. I got too many friends and several enemies, of course, but a lot more friends, and that can help me with this project and know folks to call. And fortunate that the superintendent, Amanda Abel, believed in me and let me, take this journey. And the school board got, they got on board, and we got it going. And now Caverna had a tennis program last year, 2024, and they had not had a program 5 years prior to that, though.
Right.
So they canceled their program, and Danielle Carver has picked it back up, and she played tennis there a number of years ago, and so I've been able to work with her some on the tennis over there, giving some clinics, and we've had a fun time doing it. But the new course is amazing. Amazing.
So, yeah, because you mentioned the rebirth of the program.
Yeah.
I went and talked to them last spring whenever they were first coming back, wrote a story, talked to Danielle about what motivated her to do it. And she said, she played tennis there, and she just she just hated to see them not have a tennis program.
Right.
And so somebody said, well, why don't you coach it? And she said, I guess if I'm going to talk about it, I might as well do it. So she signed up to be the coach, and they played several matches last year. I think her ambition is to build it, get more players, and obviously having a place to go out, because they didn't have a place to. They could go out there and practice, but they really couldn't practice the way you need to get better at the game. Yeah. So having that court and a place to practice also will inspire. Once you have the ribbon cutting tomorrow, and a lot of these students see this, I imagine it'll inspire them to come out and play.
Sure, it will, and we're going to put up a backboard, hitting backboard on it. That's not hasn't happened yet, but that will go up. So that'll be available for individuals that don't have to do like I did years ago, go to the elementary school and hit against the wall. But that worked. But we'll get the backboard up. Went up. I've got numbers on the courts. Worked over the weekend putting the scorecards up around the net post, so that looks good. We got a banner to go up. We're making the place looks like it's a tennis facility. That's what we want.
Right.
Yeah. Nice environment.
Right. And you still like to play tennis yourself?
Oh, I enjoy. Played some this weekend with the group. I don't play as much as I once did. I get more, tennis lessons than I do, competing. Mm-hmm. And I like that because, when you can give tennis lessons, you're helping the next generation. When you're playing, that's kind of just for yourself.
Right.
You need to pass it along if you want it, the longevity of the sport. It's a great sport. I really and I like working with young people and older people too. We have a Thursday night ladies group that plays, and they're outstanding to work with. We had a lot of fun, a lot of bonding, and they're great. They're excited about playing every Thursday night. Like to get out and play tennis. So, tennis is a great sport. And I'm been very blessed, very fortunate. God's been very good to introduce me to a lot of places through tennis, and I'm very thankful for that.
Well, to that end, you're going to be inducted into the Kentucky Tennis Hall of Fame. I think that's what it's called.
Yeah, Kentucky Tennis Hall of Fame. Yeah.
Now, when did you find out about this honor coming for you?
Well, it's been probably 2 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. I knew that. I knew a little bit about the Hall of Fame because I've been the president of USTA Kentucky, and I've been president of USTA Foundation Razor Racket. And the Razor Racket Foundation is the one that actually does the Hall of Fame. And so I've been on both sides of it, so to speak. And I, knew that I had been nominated, involved in the nominating process. And I knew, around that August, September window is when they announced it. And, the ceremony is going to be in February this year at the annual meeting for USTA Kentucky. And so I thought, well, I might be finding out, may or may not be. And so 2 weeks ago, folks came to the bank, and they did a pretty good job of, my wife kind of, and my executive assistant kind of, worked a number on me there. David said, hey, I need you to be in the bank. What kind of time can you be in the bank? Because I'm bringing a contractor by. We're going to, David's been wanting to do some remodeling, John. She's kind of playing that up, and I thought, well, yes, I'll be there. And so.
Where will this take place at?
It'll be at Marriott East in Louisville.
Great.
And invite people out. I'm one of three, so they normally go 2 or 3 each year. I'm very humbled by it, very honored by it. It's great because I don't go in because of my great tennis ability. I go in because I got a little ability in tennis, but I go in because I've done a lot, behind the scenes and run the organization and involved in this and that, and so that's a part. That's a good thing that the Hall of Fame recognizes individuals across the tennis spectrum, and that's what it's right because it takes everybody.
That's correct.
Yeah, it takes everybody. It's not just you got you won this championship, but that well, a little bit more to it, and to that, and that's really nice. That
part of it's promoting the game as well.
Oh yeah, so you're 100% right because I look back. On the W.A. Weldon tennis tournament we have here every year, and we're three. This year is our 97th year for the W.A. Weldon. Started in 1928, and it's the oldest money tennis tournament in Kentucky that we have in our back door. Right here. Now it's not been held every year because of the war, World War II, and some other events, but I've been involved in that for 35 years.
Yeah.
It's getting ready to turn 100. I've been involved 35 years. And I was looking at that, and I found an old photo of me doing presentation the winter in 1990. If y'all remember back to Citizens Bank and Trust.
Yes.
Y'all remember Citizens Bank and Trust? Yep. James Trigg Pace, Harold Matthews, those names from the past. And I remember them saying, well, Terry, we're going to let you be involved for us because Citizens Bank and Trust was a big sponsor for that.
Right.
And Trans Financial became from Citizens Bank and Trust, but that was a big deal for me, and I've been involved with it, ever since. Played in it a couple of times. Well, played it for a few years.
Mm-hmm.
Got some great stories about that. I'll tell during my induction, but I won't tell them today. But
Well, tennis is like golf. You can play. It's not just your high school years. You can play all your life.
Yeah, John, you're 100% correct. And that's the fun thing about it. Tennis is a life sport, and people need to realize that because it teaches a lot. Your movement, your flexibility, obviously, the cardio side to it, the camaraderie, the friendship side of it, the sportsmanship. Years ago, someone told me that tennis is like having or playing in a chess game, and it's on a big board, of course. Okay, but it's great for your mental capacity because you got to be thinking, where am I going to hit the next shot? All right, where are they going to hit the next shot? Who's moving where, and all that. And so, that's true.
Yeah,
and so it keeps you sharp, and I like that about it. And it doesn't take a lot of money to play tennis. Rackets. I remember buying a racket years ago, a graphite racket. You may remember, John, graphite when they first came out.
That replaced wood, right?
Yeah, replaced the wood. I had a wood racket. Then I had a wood racket. Then I had a metal racket. You might remember the T2000, the Wilson T2000. And everybody had a T2000 because Jimmy Connors had a T2000. And I hope some of your listeners are thinking about it. A T2000, wow. And it had, it was a metal racket, and then it had, metal around the frame of it, obviously. And then they came out with the T3000. I had a T3000. But it went to graphite. I remember spending my entire paycheck for 2 weeks to buy a graphite head tennis racket. And I was just over the top with that. I mean, it's a great investment for me.
Sure.
And I think I still have that racket. Matter of fact, I've not played with it in years, obviously. But that's the fun thing about tennis. But we are, the ribbon cutting tomorrow at 1:30. We want people to come out and see the courts, be a part of that. Trying to do a lot of programming for the high school students at Caverna, obviously. But then we're doing some community things with that, and we're going to start up a little tennis gathering of some of the high schools later this fall, just in playing in doubles, trying to get them out playing a little bit more than they play. Because tennis needs to be a year-round sport. I know we were talking about that off air on that.
It's a great time of year to play right now, fall.
Oh, yeah, it's tremendous time. We had, and I don't know what all you want to talk about today, but when I was president of USTA Kentucky, one of my initiatives that I had was to start, we did a playing session. One of the initiatives was to start a high school tennis coaches association. We did that, so I'm very proud of that, and still affected that. And one thing that we have gone to KHSAA about over and over again is we need tennis in the fall. We don't need it in the spring because we're coming out of the summer. The student athletes have been playing during the summer. They're ready to play in the fall.
Yeah, and a lot of your football players aren't necessarily tennis players.
Yeah, right.
But you may run into that with baseball and tennis in the spring.
You do, and people are running track and things, and so we thought it was great. And then they said, well, now you're gonna get soccer, you're gonna get golf. We got too much going. Well, okay, move soccer to the spring. we said, I told them I can solve this for you. I mean, we went and presented before their board, and there's just no way. But you would also extend tennis a little longer as well because the weather tends to be a little bit better in the fall, and we can start right when school starts.
Yeah.
And now we get.
Or you can just do like golf and start a month and a half before school starts.
We do that. Even James, I think that even works better. But during the spring, you got all the rain, the weather, and it's cold and windy, and then they don't have much of a window to play.
Right.
So I think they need to change that. So I
agree.
vote for that. Okay, we got 2 votes. All right, we got James, you're 3 votes. So we'll go to KHSAA and tell them need to change that because we want a longer playing period for tennis.
Kentucky likes to think of itself as a southern state, and a lot of the southern states play their soccer in the winter. So, I mean, they could just play soccer in the winter, right?
Yeah.
Sure, why not?
Why not? I'm agreeable with that.
Real quick so how did you start playing tennis as a child?
Sure. I started playing, being a ball boy for my sister and brother. They would take me to play tennis because I guess they had to because my mother made them take me. And we would go to the Cave City Motel. Off of 31W, they had a tennis court behind the Cave City Motel.
There you go.
An asphalt court with lines on it. No playing surface like you see today, okay? So it's asphalt you're playing on. Mm-hmm. And it had that net that wasn't the net you see today, but it was a mesh metal net. And you didn't have to worry about it wearing out. It's it just rust out.
So it's like a chain link kind of
Almost,
thing.
yeah. Think of it that way, chain link net.
Okay.
And you could not adjust the height of this. It was the height it was, whether it was the right height or not. And then they let me be the ball boy, and occasionally I'd get to hit one or two, and then I would. It's something to do. Growing up, I'd go over to that because the elementary school was right behind our farm there, and hit against the wall, and just kind of started going, and just kind of started. I remember going up to the high school course, and this is obviously these stories true, and I would go and be on the court by myself, and I watch these older men playing doubles, like court 1. I'd go down to court 4 because I didn't want to be near them because I didn't want to mess them up.
Yeah.
And I told myself, I said, one day I want to be like them.
Mm-hmm.
I said, I want to be like them. The people that I saw out in the community and respected. I said, I want to be like those men. And look what's happened, And so, it started from there, played in, quote, back then junior high. I remember playing on the junior high team, and my outfit was blue jeans, playing in blue jeans. Because, we didn't have tennis shorts. I mean, and I was that good. I think we had a tennis racket back then from Kmart, or but that's the way you got to start somewhere.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then that progressed into the wood rackets. I remember the wood rackets. You had the press that you'd put your wood racket in and tighten the screws on each side, and had a cover for it. You put it on that press.
You got to hit it clean.
Yeah, and and then just kind of stayed with it in high school, and very fortunate to be in high school. Gentlemen that y'all know, I played a lot of doubles with in high school. Bart Weaver.
Yeah.
Bart and I, we won the SKC tournament 2 years in a row, 1979, 1980. We graduated in 1980, so we were a pretty good doubles team. We never, in the region, we were undefeated in doubles in the region, and for 1 year we did. 1 year we lost one doubles match, but we never, though, made the state tournament. That was kind of the only regret I have in high school, is I never made it.
Was there somebody from the Bowling Green neck of the woods standing in your way?
Yeah,
or is
there was. Yeah, there was. We beat these teams, and when it came to regional time, we didn't beat them for some reason. I guess that's called pressure there. Choking.
Yeah.
What do you think that is there? I don't know.
Baltimore Ravens effect is what it is.
Definitely. Yeah, talk about that. But then stayed with tennis. When I went to college, really didn't play a little bit in the fall in college team. But then when I transferred schools, I helped a high school program in Chester County in Tennessee, Henderson, Tennessee area. Helped them start a tennis program.
Yeah.
Which was fantastic. Had a great time with that, and then just kind of tennis just kept evolving with me. And be the president of USTA and serve as the president of the Presidents of the Southern Association was neat for a number of years, and I've served on the foundation and served on all these committees in Southern, and the Foundation for Kentucky led it for many years and involved with it, and it's been great, and give lessons in the Weldon Tennis Association. And John, I saw you some springtime at Berrien County, helped out with the program at Berrien County when Matthew and Jonathan played assistant coach with Coach Rickard there. And
Yep.
that was fun. We had a lot of we had great numbers out for tennis back then.
Sure.
I mean 20s, I don't know, Trent still may have that number out now, but I mean, we're programming, got the lights at the high school. We thought that was just the greatest thing ever, to have lights on the tennis court. And talking about lights, Caverna has lights already on their tennis court.
Yeah.
Which are great. Which means, what it means to me is, we got the courts redone, and we've got the lights already there. We didn't take down we took down obviously the fence to do the course, but we put the fence back up and painted it, and it looks really nice. And so, so ready to go. But my involvement in tennis, and let me go back and speak about the Weldon Tennis Association. Let me tell you, the Weldon Tennis Tournament is a great tournament. This year, the young man that won was from Ball State, just a great player, got every ball. I mean, hustled, and he won, obviously. Won. Beat a young man that won the KHSAA 2024 for Kentucky that plays at Bellarmine. They had a great match. But when they did the presentation for me 2 weeks ago, John English, who chairs the committee for the Hall of Fame, his brother, Sam English, played in the Weldon tournament.
Okay.
And won it 3 years.
Yeah.
And John loves to tell the story about Sam playing in the Weldon, because John and Sam have connections back. Their mother is from Glasgow.
Okay.
And he was very emotional the other day about talking about his brother and his family, the roots back to Glasgow. And John gave me the trophy that Sam won in 1960.
Dang.
Yeah, so I have that trophy. It needs a little repair work to it, but
Yeah.
that's kind of nice to have. I mean, it's really, John gave that to me, and I cherish that, and going to make some improvements to it. But, we've had in the Weldon, All-American tennis players. Obviously, there are several players in the Weldon that are in the Kentucky Tennis Hall of Fame.
Right, yeah.
And there are players that have played Weldon that have played, on the pro circuit.
Mm-hmm.
Players that play, top NCAA.
Mm-hmm.
Eric Quigley, that played at the University of Kentucky, has the most single wins for NCAA.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Played it 2 years, won it 1 year, and didn't win it the next year.
Right.
So the Weldon's a great tournament. Great to be involved with it. Probably spend too much time talking about that, but tennis. I've been very fortunate to have touched a lot of different pieces of tennis,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a sport that means a lot to me. And being inducted into the Kentucky Tennis Hall of Fame is just over the top.
Yeah.
I mean, just over the top. I mean, there's great people that are inducted into it. One of their players from the Weldon, that plays the Weldon, Michael Cunningham,
Mm-hmm.
played a number of years. Last year, he was inducted into the Kentucky Tennis Hall of Fame. A lot of people know that name. But last year, he's played at Wimbledon. He's not played in the actual draw,
Right.
but he's played on the grounds.
Yeah.
And with representing the United States, playing a World Cup group.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, we can say, we've had somebody that's been on the court,
Right.
and play on the grass,
Mm-hmm.
The holy grass.
Yeah.
There at Wimbledon. And so that's quite fun. And then, being able to, go to the U.S. Open and participate in the U.S. Open is just fantastic. We, got to be in the president's box. Debbie and I did for a couple years.
Mm-hmm.
Watching Roger Federer play. I took a photo. I took a photo. Some of you know Virginia Wade. You may or may not know. You know the name Virginia
Yes,
Wade.
yes.
Yeah.
Well, I thought it was kind of neat. I took a photo of Virginia Wade taking a photo of Roger Federer.
Two great players for sure.
Yeah. She was for Great Britain. She played, and she was quite the player. I mean,
Uh-huh.
Especially in doubles.
yeah, she was quite the player, and I got to meet her and get a photo with her, and that was kind of neat for us.
Well, Terry, it sounds like tennis has been a really good thing for you, and it's paying off in a number of ways, but especially with this induction in the Hall of Fame. So congratulations on that.
Yeah.
And I'll see you tomorrow over at Caverna.
Yeah. Come out and be a part of that. It's very big for the school, for the student athletes there, for our communities of KC and Horse Cave, for our whole region for us. We've got to get our tennis courts redone here in Glasgow, and they're on the drawing board. We're not to that phase yet, but we're going to get to that phase, and we're going to have really nice courts in Glasgow down the road. So please, everybody, be patient with us as we get that put together. And the induction ceremony, I'm really excited about it. One of the, individuals first individuals from Barron County to ever be inducted into Kentucky Tennis Hall of Fame.
That's you?
Me.
There you go.
Well, there you go. You've got one on the whole Travis family that.
Let me tell you, the Travis family, Freddie Travis was quite the tennis player.
Yeah.
He was quite the tennis player at center.
Yeah.
Quite the tennis player. Of course, his brother played tennis as well.
Yeah.
But Freddie was probably the better of the tennis players there, and he was quite the tennis player. So
Yeah.
a lot of good tennis players from here. We're very fortunate to be in this area. So, gentlemen, thank y'all for letting me come and hang out with. This fun stuff. I mean, hey, y'all get paid for this, right?
No.
All right. This is Brown Sports Bag presented by McDonald's of Glasgow. We'll be right back.
Presented by McDonald's of Glasgow, it's back to the studio with James and John, the Brown Sports Bag.
I want to thank Terry Bunnell for stopping by and talking to us about being inducted into the Kentucky Tennis Hall of Fame and the ribbon cutting tomorrow at Caverna High School at 1:30 for the new tennis courts. So congratulations to him, John. That's great. That's great. Also, we're going to talk a little bit about some high school football that it was weather delayed by a day for Barron County. Well, almost a day. What was it? 15 hours or something of that nature, I think is what it was. Maybe some 17 hours maybe. But anyway, they kicked off on Saturday and beat Metcalfe County 39-0. And we're going to start with that one because last week you had made a comment that what Barron had to do after coming off the game that had 30 penalties over at Glasgow between the two teams is it had to be a cleaner game, and they had to play like they were the better team. And predominantly speaking, I think Barron did that, especially Dalen Thomas.
Well, yeah. I mean, Barron dominated that game. It was 39-0, and the stats weren't even close. So it was a really good bounce back by Barron. And you don't want to compare this year to last year because different players and so forth. But a couple of the players from last year played kind of like they did last year, and that was Dalen Thomas.
Mm-hmm.
You know, his first game back was against Glasgow, and he probably played half the game against Glasgow, and was coming off a little bit of a break, and he looked like Dalen Thomas. He was explosive, ran through people. He had 3 touchdowns, over 150 yards, and all 3 touchdowns were considerably long touchdowns, and he looked like he played like last year, and just Barron, just Metcalfe could get nothing going against Barron. They had less than 40 total yards, and the defense was just tremendous. Connor Thomas, I thought, played really well on the defensive side. I don't know how many tackles he had a couple of sacks, and shout out to Jacob Dooley. He got Barron going on a 37-yard field goal. You don't see a lot of those, and it kind of got things going. And it was a good – Barron needed that after the Glasgow game, which they really was completely shut down offensively and really didn't score a lot of points in the first game and against their win against Southwestern. So it was a good bounce-back game against Metcalfe, 39-0, and it's probably something that they really needed.
Mm-hmm. One thing that has been the case in all 3 of their games is the defense has played well.
Defense has played well.
I mean, they played well against Pulaski Southwestern while the offense was struggling. They actually played well against Glasgow while the offense was struggling. And they played exceptionally well. I mean, they played well against Metcalfe in such a way that they were obviously just a dominant team defensively.
They were.
And a lot of times, they beat Metcalfe pretty handily the last couple of years, but there have been years where that's been a neck-and-neck game.
That's correct.
And that was not the case on Saturday, and I thought it was a pretty impressive showing.
And you never know what's going to happen when a game is postponed from one day to the next one, but Barron was really sharp, came out and played well under, it was wet conditions, but I will give a shout-out to Metcalfe County, beautiful new facility.
Yep. It's really nice. It is really nice over there. And to that end, let's look ahead real quick for Barron because they play at Monroe this Friday, which lost to Glasgow 14-3. And so I'm curious to see how that goes because I'm sure Coach Pettit was not too happy with the way his team performed against Glasgow offensively. Maybe that had something to do with Glasgow's defense. Their defense seemed to play pretty well, so it looks like a game that's going to be a pretty good measurement for both programs, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a really important game for Barron. They're 2-1. It's going to be a very difficult game at Monroe. I think Monroe is much, much better than last year. Very experienced team and so forth. And staring right after that is Bowling Green. Yeah. So, we'll see. I can almost guarantee it's going to be close and probably very physical.
Yeah. To that end, going back to Glasgow beating Monroe County this past Friday, 14-3, I think there was about a 35 or a 40-minute weather delay. They started early and finished about the same time they usually would because of the weather delay. And Glasgow's offense, well, let me say this. Cam Bull's been pretty good against Barron and against Monroe. He had a big touchdown run, I think at 32 yards after Glasgow had recovered a muffed punt. And then Hudson Gum dove for the pylon like with a second left in the first half. That was Glasgow's 2 scores in that game. They really haven't had the same explosive plays that they did in that first game against Clay County.
Well, a lot of that was interception returns and so forth.
That's right. Their defense created 2 of those big plays.
Glasgow's defense has been tremendous.
Yes, it has.
They've given up, I think, 11 points in 3 games. Gave up 0 the first game, 8 to Barron, and 3 to Monroe.
Yeah.
And Monroe and Barron, I think, are pretty good teams.
I think so.
So defensively, they've been just lights out. Trace Smith had 13 tackles the last game. And I think Landon Martin had 5 tackles and an interception. So their defense has been really, really good. Offensively, it's been and I know it's probably something that has frustrated Coach Arnett. He's an offensive guy. And that's probably the – they're staring at 3-0. They are 3-0. And but they – if you're from the Glasgow perspective, you got to think that we can play much better offensively.
Yeah.
Because really Cam Bull, he had over 100 yards on the ground and a touchdown, but they haven't had a lot of explosive plays in terms of, especially in the passing game with Jarek Martin and players like that. So there's a lot of room to improve, especially offensively. But if you look at Glasgow's schedule, 10-0 is not out of the question.
No, it's not.
They will be, in my opinion, probably the favorite, barring injury, going into almost every game. I was just looking ahead at their schedule, and outside of Hart and Franklin, they're going to do quite well. I'll just say that. And those are probably the only 2 teams that right now in their future schedule that, to me, I would even think twice about being close.
Yeah. Going back to what you just said about their run game has been fine, and they've hit some big plays in the run game. I think Jalen Bradley didn't play a whole lot on Friday night. I think he had gotten banged up in practice, and so maybe that affected them a little bit in terms of he's one of their explosive players.
Right.
But, as you mentioned, Cam Bull's kind of stepped in that gap in the run game, but they still haven't really managed to figure out how to get Jarek Martin the ball in space in the passing game and for him to hit the home runs. So that's one of those things. And in the post-game interviews with Coach Arnett against Barron and against Monroe, he's talked about that. He hasn't really just come up with the right plays yet. And but as long as that defense keeps playing the way it is, as you mentioned, teams are going to have a hard time scoring.
Well, unless Glasgow turns it over to create points for the other team. Right now, it's very difficult to score against Glasgow.
Yeah.
And then sometimes that does affect your play call. Don't screw it up offensively because our defense is going to hold the other team, and that has to factor in sometime.
Yeah. It's the old don't put your defense in bad situations.
That's correct.
And they've definitely not done that. And meanwhile, they will play at Allen County this Friday, and
that's normally a really good game, but Allen is
after
struggled.
Friday night, I don't know what to think of Allen. They lost to Warren Central 34-14.
Right.
And it looked as if Warren Central was kind of capable of doing whatever they wanted.
This is a trap game for Glasgow.
It is.
Coming off Barron and Monroe, 2 bitter rivals.
Yeah.
And for Allen, Glasgow would probably be considered a sort of a rival.
Yeah, that's right.
So they got to be careful with them, not look at the record because Allen's 0-3, I believe. Mm-hmm. And but I think Glasgow's just way too talented to lose to Allen.
Yeah, I imagine.
Though I got a gut feeling it's going to be closer than people may think.
Yeah, Allen, Coach Hood down there always seems to come up with something whenever they're playing Glasgow.
Has a lot of pride in his football program. He's been there a long time.
And losing to Warren Central the way they did is if his team is good enough to win a game, that's an attention-getting kind of loss.
Right.
Whatever he's been telling them before they lost that game, afterward, they know that they just lost a game that a lot of people are like going to look around and say, are they really that bad? Because Warren Central, they've been improving the last few years, but they still shouldn't be that team.
Probably not, and I'll see them later on because Barron plays Warren Central.
Yeah, they're in Barron's district. Anyway, some other interesting games I thought from the weekend. South Warren beat Greenwood 33-19. That game was pretty close throughout.
Two weather delays as well.
Yep. And we think South Warren might be one of the best teams in the state based on how they've been playing to that game. Bowling Green is now 0-3 after losing to Scott County 35-28. That game, I think Scott County scored late to win that one.
Yeah, Bowling Green has switched to a freshman quarterback.
Uh-huh. So they weren't really happy with the way some things were going.
Well, he's really talented.
Yeah,
But they switched, I think, after the first game. Mm-hmm. So they're just going to ride it out, looks like.
Yeah. They are 0-3, but they've probably played one of the toughest schedules in the state for the first 3 games. And then Warren East beat the snot out of Central Hardin 40-0. The game was called in the third quarter, John.
Yeah, that surprised me.
Yeah, me too. So those are some games that kind of stood out to me. Anything stood out to you from high school football from Friday?
I think that's kind of sums it up right there.
All right, this is Brown Sports Bag, presented by McDonald's of Glasgow. We'll be right back.
Presented by McDonald's of Glasgow, it's back to the studio with James and John, the Brown Sports Bag.
Welcome back to the Brown Sports Bag. James Brown, John Butler, presented by McDonald's of Glasgow. John, the NFL season kicked off, and it started on Thursday with the Eagles and the Cowboys, and then Friday was some game in Brazil between the Chiefs and the Chargers. And I will say this, all that didn't really matter. The best game was the one that was played Sunday night. And why did that have to be in the first week of the season? Why couldn't they have saved that game for Week 17? That was Ravens and Bills, and it was as exciting as every one of their games has been in recent years, John.
Yes, it was. 41-40 Bills. They made up 15 points in the last 5 minutes to come back and win.
Yeah.
Just an incredible game. Two great quarterbacks, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. Mm-hmm. And just an incredible game to watch, to be honest with you.
You know, I think about this. If anybody is still having the discussion about Lamar Jackson and whether or not he can be, you know, the best quarterback in the NFL, yada, yada, forget about that. If you look back to the game they lost to the Bills in the playoffs last year, it was 2 plays on Mark Andrews that really put the Ravens in a bad situation. It was the false start and then the drop pass at the goal line, basically. And then yesterday we had the fumble by Derrick Henry and a missed extra point by the kicker. Lamar Jackson did everything he was supposed to do for the Ravens to win the game, but on the contrary, Josh Allen also did everything he's supposed to do for his team to win the game. You have 2 guys that are they may be the 2 best quarterbacks in the league right now.
Well, they're in the top 3, and you can still call Patrick Mahomes, but I just assume have Josh Allen than anybody.
Yeah.
But Lamar too. I mean, it's Josh Allen, Lamar, and Patrick Mahomes. Joe Burrow maybe, but with the legs of Lamar and Josh Allen, they are incredible quarterbacks to watch. I mean, they're so much different than just about anybody in the league. Lamar with his scrambling ability, he scrambles with quickness. Mm-hmm. Josh Allen scrambles and can run over you. He's 6'5", 240.
Yeah.
So they both make. Josh Allen threw for 400 yards, and he had 4 touchdowns, a couple running, couple throwing. Lamar only threw for like 200 and something, but he was fantastic as well. It was a great game, and just like with all great comebacks, the team that comes back has to have a break from the team that's ahead. And the mistake was made, Derrick Henry fumble, but that didn't put Buffalo ahead. They were still behind too. Baltimore got it back, and they could have iced it, but they went 3 and out. Mm-hmm. And maybe that's where probably should have given Lamar maybe a better opportunity. It was 2 conservative runs, and then Lamar tried to get us the first down on 3rd and 8, and they picked up like 6 or 7. So and you give the ball back to great quarterbacks like Josh Allen. All they need is a field goal.
Yeah,
it seems like that often
all but guaranteed at that point.
That's correct.
I guess the real crime of the situation is the fact not that one has to win and one has to lose, but not every game in the NFL can live up to watching those 2 quarterbacks play.
No, but there were good games yesterday. Pittsburgh and the Jets were a fantastic game.
What a shocking game!
Aaron Rodgers played great. He played like he played 4 or 5 years ago, and the Jets, they put up more points than they almost ever do. I mean, they were –
Justin Fields looked like he should be in the NFL.
He was really good. That was a fantastic game. I don't think very many people picked 34-32 for that score.
No.
So that was a really good game.
Yeah.
And so there were good games this weekend.
There were. Back to the Brazil game, that was the Chiefs and Chargers.
I didn't see it. Whatever channel that was on, I didn't get to watch it.
I think it was a YouTube special, but of course it was on Friday night. Well, I didn't. I had to go back and watch the replays of it and read about the game because I was not available to watch it.
Right.
And I thought the thing about the game was the Chiefs' offense.
Well, they lost their best. Well, their best receiver, Rice, is suspended for 6 games.
Yeah.
And then the 3rd player of the game, their next great receiver or good receiver is Xavier Worthy, their big play guy. He runs into Travis Kelce on a crossing pattern and separates his shoulder, dislocates the shoulder. So that knocks out their 2 top receivers outside of Kelce in the first 3 plays. So I don't know how that played. I mean, it's got to affect you, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But Justin Herbert for the Chargers was fantastic. He threw for 4 touchdowns.
Well, that's what I was going to say. So last year they managed to – their offense is, it looked like it was going to be better, but for the reasons you just mentioned, it was not as good as it looked in the preseason, especially that last preseason game. Meanwhile, their defense, which is what they've actually been kind of living on the last few years, Justin Herbert was just carving it up.
Yeah, played good.
And so, it was –
First game in Brazil, I don't take a lot from it.
Yeah, that's the thing about it. You don't know –
A lot of it's, you're talking about a 16-hour travel. And
yeah.
I can't really – I mean, it's a bigger win for the Chargers than a loss for Kansas City. The Chargers needed that. They needed to beat Kansas City, so that was a good win for them.
Yeah, it changes the dynamics in the division a little bit in the NFC West, in the AFC West. Yeah, because I mean the Raiders.
I mean, if they go 5, Kansas City wins their next 5, then they win it.
Or next 16, however it works out. Which they might do.
They might. We'll see.
I mean, that's one thing about them. They're able to adjust.
They're due a
week to week.
slippage.
Yeah.
They are due a slippage.
They are.
And, they may slip back to 11-6 or 10-7. That wouldn't shock me.
Mm-hmm. There's a reason it's rare for a team to make it either to their conference championship to start with 4 years in a row, even rarer to make it to the Super Bowl 4 years in a row because that's only happened once.
Right.
And so
and I don't think they're as good as Baltimore, Buffalo.
No,
but I don't. But they've had that magic going, but that magic may have to be reset.
Yep. Meanwhile, in college football, we'll talk about that real quick. The WKU got killed by Toledo, and Kentucky lost a heartbreaker to Ole Miss, and Louisville beat James Madison. It was kind of the way things go these days, I guess. But anyway, that was kind of the college football recap real quick. I tell you what, we're just going to stay, and then when we get out of here, we'll be done with the show. We're only going to have 3 segments today, just because of the timing. And real quick, in girls soccer last week, Glasgow beat Barron 3-1, and then lost to Warnies 4-1, both district games.
Losing streak for Glasgow against Barron.
Yeah,
they'd won. Probably been 4 or 5 years since they
2019.
lost. Okay.
September 2019 was the last time they'd beaten them.
And Glasgow girls are now 7-2.
Yep. So
Barron girls are 3-4-1. Mm-hmm. But that was a good win for Glasgow.
Yep.
They had 3 different scores too, by the way, in that game.
Yeah, I mean they're finding some variety in what they're doing. And then this week, Barron has a district game at Allen. That's tomorrow, and Warren East on Thursday.
Big week.
Yeah, so we'll have some shakeout in the district standings with that, and then in Glasgow has a district game at Allen today, so that'll be a big district game. East kind of got back in the district race with that win against Glasgow last week. They still have 2 losses because they've already lost to Glasgow once and lost to Barron once. So Barron and Glasgow, when they play September 18th, I think it is, over at Glasgow, that may be deciding the 1 seed in the district.
Could be.
So we'll be interested to see about that. And then the Glasgow
Barron defeated Glasgow in volleyball.
That's right.
Week.
Yep, 3-2. That is correct.
Yeah, that was a close one. I played over. I think it was over at Glasgow.
Yep.
Barron won the first 2 sets, and Glasgow came back and won the next 2. And I think Barron won the closing set 15-11.
That's right. So we've got some district volleyball. One of them will be the 3, and one of them will be the 4 seed probably.
Yeah,
right now, East and Allen are.
Warren East is the clear favorite.
Yeah.
All you got to do is look at Warren East's schedule.
Yes.
Who they playing?
Uh-huh.
They're playing all the Bowling Green schools, Henderson County. You can tell sometimes how good a team is by who they play.
Yeah, and I think they beat on the same night that Glasgow and Barron were playing. They beat Allen County 3-0. So they're clear the best team in the district. So somebody's trying to play not to play them in the first round.
Right.
And then let's see, in Barron and boys soccer last week, Glasgow lost to Warren East Barron lost to Warren East 7-2.
Yep.
I'm here to tell you, John, Warren East, despite the fact that Glasgow beat them 6-1 in the second week of the season, Warren East is going to be the team to beat on the boys' side. They've got a couple of kids that have moved in. One of them is really good. They have one who's coming back from last year off of an injury, I think, who was really good. So despite how it looked at the very start of the season, it looks like East is going to be the team to beat in that boys' district, which means it could set up a Barron-Glasgow first-round matchup in the district tournament. So that'd be a barn burner of a situation.
Sure. And cross country starting. We hadn't talked much about that.
That's Glasgow's run, I think, in 4 meets. I think Barron, they had a meet that was like it was kind of a weird setup. I was trying to figure that out this past weekend, but I think everybody's running at Central Hardin this coming Saturday. So Barron and Glasgow are both running there this coming. I say Central Hardin.
And golf is winding down.
Yeah, we got 2 weeks left of the golf season. By the way, before we get out of here, Griffin Jackson was playing in the 2A today up in Owensboro Country Club. I think he finished tied for 7th in that. Pretty good field because that has Taylor County, Christian Academy of Louisville, or Lexington,
Probably
Louisville.
Catholic.
Some of those guys. It has a pretty good field in it. So Griffin probably had an off day for himself, but not a bad performance for us average Joes out here. All right, that's been the Brown Sports Bag presented by McDonald's of Glasgow, and we will be back next week.
You've been listening to the Brown Sports Bag on WCLU. Be sure to join James and John again next Monday at 4 for another edition of the Brown Sports Bag.